Whispers among the ruins. The violet storm clouds parted as Aya's research vessel broke through Earth's atmosphere with a shudder that rattled her teeth. She gripped the control panel tighter, her purple fingers splaying across the blinking lights while her other hand frantically tried to stabilize the descent. Systems failing, announced the ship's AI. Emergency landing protocols engaged. Aya closed her gray eyes for a moment, steadying her breath. This wasn't in the mission briefing, she whispered to herself as the ship plummeted toward the lush green landscape below. The impact came harder than expected, throwing her against the restraints before darkness claimed her. When she awoke, sunlight filtered through a crack in the ship's hull. Aya winced, touching a tender spot on her forehead. Her lavender skin was bruised darker around the injury. She carefully unbuckled herself and assessed the damaged transmission systems offline, she noted, speaking into her wrist recorder. Life support functional, but power reserves at 23%. I've crash-landed approximately 300 kilometers from my intended research zone on a planet believed uninhabited by intelligent life for nearly 3 centuries. Gathering her emergency pack, Aya stepped through the broken hull into the alien world. Ancient structures, now merely concrete skeletons, jutted from the earth like broken bones. Half-collapsed buildings were wrapped in vines and roots, nature reclaiming what had once belonged to humanity. Fascinating, she murmured, her scientific training momentarily overriding her concerns. The architectural remnants suggest this was once a major population center, exactly as our historical records indicated. She had studied Earth extensively at the Nebulon Academy. All cadets did the cautionary tale of a species that destroyed itself through war and environmental collapse. A required curriculum before any xenoarchaeologist could qualify for field research. The wind shifted suddenly, bringing unfamiliar scents, rich soil, decaying leaves, and something else, something Aya couldn't identify. She froze, the fine hairs on the back of her neck rising. "Hello?" she called out, immediately regretting breaking protocol. "Never announce your presence on an unknown terrain." Only rustling leaves answered her. Yet the sensation of being watched intensified as dusk approached. Aya found shelter in what appeared to be an ancient library. Remarkably, some of the structure remained intact. She set up her portable heat source and examined her surroundings. Bookshelves stood empty, their contents long since decayed. Dust covered every surface. Day 1 of unexpected extended mission. She spoke into her recorder. "I will attempt repairs tomorrow. My beacon should activate automatically if I don't reset it within 48 hours, alerting the Nebulon outpost to my situation." A soft sound, perhaps a footfall, came from deeper within the building. "Who's there?" Aya called, gripping her light scanner defensively. A shadow moved between the columns. A figure stepped forward, tall, bipedal, wearing layers of scavenged materials and unmistakably human. "Impossible," she gasped. The human, male by all apparent indicators, regarded her with equal shock. His face was weathered, eyes dark and cautious. He held some kind of makeshift weapon. "You're one of them," he finally said, his voice rough from disuse. "You're from beyond." Aya's scientific mind raced through possibilities. "I'm researcher Aya from Nebulon," she said carefully, "and you cannot exist." Bitter smile crossed his face. "Dr. Chen," he replied, "and yet, here I am, the impossible human." Their eyes locked across the dusty room. "Alien and human, both species that had been taught the other was gone. They told us you were extinct," she whispered. Dr. Chen's expression hardened. "They lied," he said simply. "They always have." Truth behind the silence. The night stretched long as they circled each other warily in the library ruins. Dr. Chen kept his distance, observing Aya with the careful attention of someone who had survived by noticing details. "You truly didn't know," he finally said, relaxing his grip on his weapon slightly. Aya shook her head, her long indigo hair catching the moonlight that streamed through the collapsed ceiling. "Our archives are explicit. Human civilization collapsed after the Great Catastrophe 3 centuries ago," she explained. "We study your ruins as cautionary historical examples." Dr. Chen's laugh was hollow. "Is that what they call it? A catastrophe? As though it were some natural disaster or accident." "It wasn't?" Aya asked, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. He studied her for a long moment. The Alliance of Seven Worlds decided humanity was too unpredictable. Too dangerous, he said finally. They launched what they called the Cleansing Directive orbital strikes on major cities, engineered plagues in rural areas, hunter-seeker drones to eliminate survivors. Aya's stomach turned. That's not possible. The Nebulon High Council would never. Nebulon was one of the seven, he interrupted, though perhaps the most reluctant according to our records. Dawn was breaking when Dr. Chen finally agreed to take Aya to his shelter. Only because your ship's beacon will bring more of your kind, he explained, and I need to understand what you know. They traveled through overgrown streets, Dr. Chen moving with the practiced silence of prey while Aya struggled to match his pace. She noticed how he blended with the environment, almost invisible despite being in plain sight. His shelter was ingenious, built into an old subway station, reinforced with salvaged materials, and shielded from scanning technology by the surrounding metal infrastructure. My home for 12 years, he explained, gesturing around the space filled with salvaged technology and handcrafted items. You're not alone, are you? Aya asked, noticing multiple sleeping areas. Dr. Chen hesitated. Not entirely. There are other scattered groups mostly staying hidden. How many survived? Perhaps 10,000 globally that we know of. We communicate when we can, but its dangerous technology attracts attention. Aya sank down onto a chair. Overwhelmed by implications, everything I've been taught is wrong. Or deliberately falsified, Dr. Chen added, his voice gentler now. You were lied to, just as we were told cooperation with alien species would bring prosperity. As days passed in the hidden shelter, Aya witnessed Dr. Chen's daily life, his careful conservation of resources, his brilliant adaptations of salvaged technology, his knowledge of Earth's recovering ecosystems. She found herself admiring his resilience, his intelligence. She shared her own knowledge, star charts, developments from other worlds, scientific advancements. Each revelation seemed to pain him, reminders of what humanity had been denied. You could have been magnificent allies, she admitted one evening as they sat near his small heat source. I've studied your art, your literature, your capacity for empathy alongside your drive to explore. The blend is rare. Dr. Chen looked up from the device he was repairing. Are those your words or your conditioning speaking? Mine, Aya said firmly. I've always questioned the narrative about humans being here confirms my doubts. Something shifted between them that night as Aya helped him prepare their meal. Their hands brushed her purple skin against his tan, a simple touch that lingered. Why did you become a researcher? He asked softly. To understand, she answered. To see beyond what I was told. Dr. Chen's eyes held hers. And now that you see? Now I don't know what to believe, she admitted. Except that you're real, and that changes everything. Later, as rain drummed against the shelter roof, Dr. Chen explained how the remaining humans had adapted. We've developed techniques to mask our heat signatures, to move without detection. Some of us study the old technology, hoping to one day reach the stars again. To seek revenge? Aya asked cautiously. To reclaim our place, he corrected, to ensure the truth is known. As he spoke, Aya realized she was seeing something extraordinary. Not just a surviving human, but perhaps the best of what humanity had been. Their eyes met across the dim light, and something unspoken passed between them. My emergency beacon, she said suddenly. It will activate soon unless I reset it. Dr. Chen's expression grew grim. Then they'll come looking for you. Yes, she whispered, and they can never find you. Signals in the dark. We need to reach your ship, Dr. Chen said, already gathering supplies. How long before the beacon activates? Less than 12 hours, Aya replied, calculating quickly. It's standard Nebulan rescue protocol. If I don't reset it, Commander Rena will dispatch a retrieval team immediately. Dr. Chen's movements were precise, efficient. Commander Rena? My expedition superior, Aya explained while helping him pack. She's thorough, methodical. If she detects any anomalies, she'll investigate personally. They emerged from the shelter at twilight, when the fading light would make Aya's purple skin less noticeable against the shadowed landscape. Dr. Chen moved ahead, constantly scanning their surroundings. There are automated sentinels still functioning. he explained in a hushed voice. Remnants from the cleansing. They hunt anything with human vitals. After 3 centuries? Aya asked incredulously. Self-repairing, he replied grimly. Programmed persistence. They paused at the crest of a hill overlooking what had once been a metropolis. Moonlight illuminated the skeletal remains of skyscrapers, now draped in vegetation. The beauty of destruction struck Aya deeply. I never understood why your cities were described as threatening in our texts, she whispered. They seem almost fragile now. Like all living things, Dr. Chen responded, his voice softening. Come, we need to stay under the canopy. As they traveled through the night forest, Aya noticed how Dr. Chen seemed to communicate with the environment itself. His movements synchronized with the wind in the leaves, his steps finding natural pathways where she saw only chaos. She struggled to follow his exact path, occasionally, stumbling on hidden roots when she nearly fell into a concealed pit. His hand shot out, catching her. Their bodies collided momentarily, and Aya felt an unfamiliar warmth spread across her skin. Sorry, she murmured, regaining her balance but not immediately pulling away. You're doing well, he said, his hand lingering on her arm for someone who's never walked on real ground. They reached the crash site shortly before dawn. Aya's ship lay partially buried in soil and vegetation, the damage more extensive than she had initially realized. This is worse than I thought, she admitted, examining the communications array. The beacon core is deep in the primary systems. Can you disable it? Not without tools I don't have. She looked up at him with growing concern. If I try to remove it incorrectly, it could trigger immediately. Dr. Chen studied the ship with narrowed eyes. Then we don't remove it, we redirect it. He decided, do you have access to its signal encoding? Yes, but could you modify it to transmit different coordinates? Aya's eyes widened with understanding. Theoretically, yes, but the emergency protocols have safeguards. Safety protocols designed by people who never imagined someone would want to hide. Dr. Chen smiled slightly. Let me show you something your education missed about humans. We're exceptionally good at working around systems designed to control us. They worked through the day, Aya accessing the ship's damaged mainframe while Dr. Chen applied his knowledge of repurposed technology. Together, they created a bypass that would allow the beacon to activate but transmit coordinates for a location nearly 800 kilometers distant. It won't fool them forever, Aya warned as she made the final adjustments, but it will buy us time. As the sun began to set, they completed their work and retreated to a safe distance. Exhausted, they found shelter in the hollow remains of what had once been a small dwelling. Dr. Chen built a small fire, carefully shielded from aerial detection. Thank you, he said unexpectedly, as they sat before the warmth, for believing me. I believe what I see, she replied, and what I feel. The words escaped before she could reconsider them. His eyes found hers in the firelight. What do you feel, Aya from Nebulan? Confusion, she admitted. Everything I was taught is unraveling, and yet I've never felt more certain about my purpose, which is to discover truth even when it's uncomfortable. A distant hum interrupted them. Dr. Chen immediately extinguished the fire. Aircraft, he whispered. Scanning pattern alpha, we need to move. They pressed themselves into a hidden alcove beneath tangled roots, bodies close in the confined space. As they waited in silence, Aya became acutely aware of his heartbeat, faster than her own, their breathing synchronized unconsciously. It's one of theirs, he whispered, so close his breath brushed her ear. Hunter-seeker, drone from your time? No, she responded, too primitive, it must be left from before. The drone hovered nearby, its sensors sweeping methodically. After what seemed like hours, it continued its patrol, moving away into the night. Neither of them moved immediately. The proximity that had been necessary now lingered by choice. Dr. Chen's hand found hers in the darkness. Their fingers intertwined, purple against tan. I should contact my people, Aya whispered. Tell them what I've discovered. Would they listen? He asked. Or would they silence you to protect their narrative? Aya had no answer. That night, as they remained hidden together, something shifted between them. A trust born of shared danger, a connection that transcended their different worlds. Far above Earth's atmosphere, Commander Rena received the beacon's signal and frowned at the unexpected coordinates. "Prepare a retrieval team," she ordered. "Something's wrong with researcher Aya's mission, and I intend to discover exactly what." Choices under starlight. Morning light filtered through leaves as Aya awoke beside Dr. Chen, their shoulders touching in the hidden alcove. "We should move," he whispered, though neither made any immediate effort to separate. "My ship's sensors indicated atmospheric disturbance," Aya said quietly. "They're coming sooner than I expected." Dr. Chen's expression tightened. "Then we have decisions to make." He helped her to her feet, his touch lingering longer than necessary. "There's someone you should meet." They traveled through dense forest until reaching what appeared to be solid rock face. Dr. Chen pressed specific points in sequence, revealing a hidden entrance. "Our main settlement," he explained as they entered one of several globally inside. Aya froze in astonishment. Dozens of humans moved through an underground complex built with remarkable ingenuity. Salvage technology blended with handcrafted solutions. Children played in one corner while adults worked at various stations. "Chen," a voice called a woman approached, her expression hardening when she noticed Aya. "You brought one of them here?" "She's different, Sarah," he replied. "She can help us." Sarah studied Aya with open suspicion. "The last alien who claimed to help us left with our genetic samples and returned with targeted bioweapons." "I understand your distrust," Aya said. "But everything I believed about your extinction was false. I want to help correct that wrong." "By doing what exactly?" Sarah challenged. "Your people are coming. They'll find us eventually." "Not if I return with them," Aya said, the plan forming as she spoke. "I can protect your secret, give you time to prepare." Dr. Chen turned to her, alarm evident in his eyes. "You'd go back?" "To buy you time," she confirmed, meeting his gaze. "To find allies among my people. There are others who question the official history." That night, as the settlement prepared defensive measures, Aya and Dr. Chen stood alone on an observation platform overlooking the valley. "You don't have to do this," he said softly. "Yes, I do," she replied, turning to face him. "What exists between our worlds is built on lies. I need to challenge that." "And what exists between us?" he asked, stepping closer. Aya's heart raced as she placed her purple hand against his cheek, something neither of our worlds prepared us for. Their first kiss was gentle, hesitant, crossing boundaries of species and centuries of separation. Their second left them both breathless. "I will return," she promised against his lips. "Whatever it takes." "I'll be waiting," he answered above them. The stars flickered as Nebulan ships entered. Earth's atmosphere. "Echoes of tomorrow, Commander." Rena's expression remained neutral as she surveyed Aya's crashed ship. "Explain again how you survived alone for 7 days." "I followed protocol," Aya replied, maintaining her composed facade. "Minimal movement, sustainable nutrition, awaiting rescue." "And these readings?" Rena indicated her scanner. "Multiple heat signatures, irregular movement patterns. Wildlife," Aya explained. "Earth's ecosystem has rebounded impressively. Animals have reclaimed former human territories." Rena studied her subordinate carefully. "You seem different." "Researcher." "Near-death experiences tend to change one's perspective," Aya responded evenly. 3 days later, as their ship broke Earth's atmosphere, Aya watched the blue planet recede. Her hand unconsciously touched her pocket where a small data crystal contained everything. Proof of human survival. Coordinates of Sentinel drones. Dr. Chen's genetic sample freely given their final night together preserved in memory on Nebulon. Aya moved carefully, gathering allies among other researchers, who had questioned the official history Sarah had given her names of, sympathizers in other worlds of those who might still remember the truth. 6 months passed before Aya stood before the High Council, presenting her theoretical findings on human resilience. "Our historical records require re-examination," she concluded. "Evidence suggests Some human populations may have adapted rather than perished entirely. The council chambers erupted in controlled chaos. This theory borders on sedition, one elder declared, or scientific integrity, countered another. As debate raged, Aya's communicator vibrated subtly with an encrypted message. Southern continent clear drop zone established waiting for you. Later, as Aya boarded a research vessel with her most trusted colleagues, ostensibly for a routine archaeological expedition, she thought of Dr. Chen waiting on Earth, the future they might build between their worlds as their ship prepared for launch. Aya looked at the stars. Some truths cannot remain buried, she whispered, and some connections cannot be broken by time or space. The ship accelerated toward Earth, carrying with it the seeds of a new beginning between worlds, between species, between hearts that had found each other, across an impossible divide. On Earth, Dr. Chen looked up at the night sky beside Sarah and the other survivors. "Do you think she'll really return?" Sarah asked skeptically. "Some promises," he replied with absolute certainty, "are destined to be kept."